my name's Lynch. I work as a fraud investigator for a large UK bank. I've probably been doing it for about 5 years now, and I will say I've done a number of roles within the banking organisation I work for, and this is by far and away the most interesting and varied role I've done. I work as part of a team and we look at fraud against the bank, and that's externally and also internally. So it can range from online attacks against the bank and also members of staff who are doing some of the things that they shouldn't be doing. So it's quite a varied role. I was working, my previous role to this, I was a credit analyst, and I was looking at large corporate lending. And in around 2009, the impairment book that the bank had was growing, and what they were seeing was some of the losses weren't down to bad lending and the recession, but actually there was an element of fraud involved, and they were looking for someone with a lending background to just have a look at the impairment book and see what we can find. And that's the way I got into it, and it was predominantly looking at lending fraud, but it's just grown since then. I think it is the variety. The role in itself, although I work for a UK bank, we do have global offices, and I've been able to do investigations in Milan, Madrid, so it's got me out of the office. One day I can be looking at organised crime and liaising with law enforcement on information and looking into some of the more organised attacks against the bank, and another time I could be sitting in front of a member of staff who's done wrong and interviewing them in preparation to possibly take it on to law enforcement or disciplinary action. So it is such a varied role. I think you have to be analytical. There's a lot of information that comes across your desk, and you have to pick out the relevant items. I think as well, common sense is probably one of the biggest things that you need within the role, because sometimes you'll get a feel for things that are just not right, and then you have to be able to challenge those. So if there's something you feel or see that just doesn't seem right, you need to challenge that. So I think that common sense is probably one of the biggest skills that you need. I would say the resources available through a number of organisations like the ICA I've used. As a grounding, when I first came into the role, I had a lending background and I knew my stuff there, but I went through the Financial Crime Prevention Diploma, and that gave me a fantastic grounding, probably to go on and do more developing of myself in the role. And that's taken me on to sort of law courses, investigation skills courses. But the ICA, the Financial Crime Prevention Diploma I did, gave me a fantastic grounding to go on. Information is paramount, and very often that information is within other organisations or elsewhere, and the only way you get that information is to build up your network of contacts. And the things I have done, I've been to the London Fraud Forum probably 5 years running, and there is a lot of people there and a lot of contacts to be made, so networking is very important. I think using the resources available on sites like the ICA, London Fraud Forum, keeping up to date with the latest news from City of London Police and their fraud team, building up the contacts within law enforcement and going to some of the talks that they provide has been very useful as well. I suppose one of the biggest, the advice I would say is do a bit of background research, but go into it with your eyes open. because there is a lot more going on in financial crime than you will see in the media, and it will be eye-opening for you. So do your research, have a look what's going on, but be prepared to have your eyes opened.